two, one.
So, back to the technology show.
It is the technology show where we translate geek into regular speak. I'm Brett Levy. I'm your host this week. So I'm actually doing the show from a new venue. I've started doing some work with the We Love group. Got the t-shirt on. There we go. Always got to rock the t-shirt on the show for those of you that are watching anyway. Yeah, they have an awesome podcast studio here. So I'm definitely going to start looking at doing some more guest shows, getting people in studio as well. We got a really sick road set up here as well. Oh, can see it on the screen. There's the road. Let's just turn the pop filter off a bit. Get that down there. Yeah. So what have we got this week? Well, I am super happy to say that I'm getting to play with some more shiny toys from Google. So let's get into it. Let's go straight into the show, and I should have the slides coming up now and into things with a Z. So first time off and first off the bat, the new Google TV streamer. Now, as a long-time user of the original Google TV, I was keen to see if the TV streamer would be worth the upgrade, and I am happy to say that it most certainly is. So first off, the TV streamer sits proudly on the cabinet. It's not a dongle that connects into the back of the TV, but rather it uses a dedicated HDMI cable. What is wrong with my words today? Cable table. I think it was too much of the Melbourne Cup festivities yesterday. Apologies. So, I do have to say, though, I was a bit disappointed that an HDMI cable, not table, is not included in the box. Now, Google even gives you AAA batteries for the remote, but not an HDMI cable. Now, there's probably a good reason for that. Not all cables are created equal. The TV stream is rated for 4K. And so if you are going to go and buy an HDMI cable, well, you have to buy one unless you have one lying around. It probably is a reason why they don't include it, is that they are encouraging you to buy a better cable. I have done a few shows in the past where I've talked about this, that some cables are gold plated. I mean, if you walk into a proper sound shop or computer shop and look at the cables, they can go from a few dollars up to a few $100, and that's kind of what the difference is. The wiring, the connectors, and all these things really do make for better transmission. So you've got 4K available. Get a decent cable. Anyway, back to the review. So, as I said, even the AAA batteries come in the box. You've got everything that you need. The TV streamer also has a dedicated Ethernet port. Now, you can use Wi-Fi, and most people probably will use Wi-Fi to connect. But as you probably know, the fastest speed that you can get is to be plugged into an Ethernet cable. There's also a button at the back of the stream, and if you're watching the show, you'll see I've actually got a slide up that shows the different connectors. There's a USB-C, an Ethernet, and then obviously the HDMI that connects to the TV. But you'll see there's a small little button there. Now that button is either a reset, hold it in for a long period of time, it resets, and it's a nice feature to have. If you're choosing to change locations or move to a different place where you need to reconnect your Wi-Fi and you don't want to keep all the stuff you got there, or maybe you're giving it to someone else and you want to wipe out all your apps, the reset button is great. However, this button actually adds a really cool feature as well. It's got Find My Remote. Now, what it does is it causes the remote to play a sound. I have a white, or porcelain as Google calls it, streamer with a porcelain remote, and on white sheets with a white duvet set, I have to say I have lost the remote a few times. As well as that abyss down the back of the headboard between the mattress seems to be a fantastic place that I keep losing remotes. It works really well. You go and put your hand behind the streamer, push the button, and it starts beeping for I think it's about 10, maybe 15 seconds, more than enough time to find the lost remote. The remote also has a custom button, so you can set up a shortcode for your favorite app, which is super cool. If you're watching, you'll see there's actually like a little star button at the bottom right. Bottom left is power. I have done that, unfortunately, a few times, just like feeling and turn the whole thing off in the middle of the show. But you can allocate that to a favorite app, a launch control. What I've actually done, and that's what I try to show on the screen as well, which is one of the features, is that unlike the Google TV with its predecessor, you can also have all of Google Home functionality now visible and controllable on your TV. So I've got cameras, I've got lights, I've got outdoor doorbell. It's all linked up. Someone rings the doorbell while I'm watching TV, I can push the button. I've actually dedicated my shortcode to the home feature as well, and bring it all up. It's there, so I can see everything. I can interact with it. So it's really cool. They've made the device more than just a streamer. They've also increased the memory size. I think it's 32 gigs. I can't remember what the Google TV was. I haven't loaded up lots of different things into from an app point of view yet, so I haven't run out of space. What I haven't figured out yet is a bit of a hack, and something I'm probably going to look at doing is, because it's USB-C, I want to get a splitter. So I'll put power in on one side and then see if I can connect external drives. And that way, obviously, increase the library size of content that I can have offline as well. Stay tuned. That's something I'll actually have a look at. I'll make a note for myself to check that feature out. The last feature that's pretty cool is that the TV streamer is Matter ready. So now you can add Matter-enabled devices and use the TV streamer as a hub or controller for that hub. Now, I actually don't have any Matter-ready devices, so I couldn't test this feature myself. But it's probably a nice segue into the next shiny toy that I got to play with. So without further ado, let's bring it up on the screen. The new Pixel Buds Pro 2. I have to just say that I've never reviewed Buds from Google. I don't know if they make non-pro versions. Obviously there'll be a Pixel Buds Pro if this is Pro 2, but I don't know if they actually made normal Buds before that without the Pro name. But this was the first pair that I've ever reviewed, and as you know, I really do like to review headsets. I do a lot of headset reviews. The last feature on the TV streamer that I mentioned, it offers spatial audio. And so when paired with these awesome buds, you have a fully immersive spatial audio experience. Now, if you've not experienced spatial audio, you really are missing out. I use a Mac. It's actually built in on the Mac. It doesn't work as well on the Mac as it does with a really good headset like the Pixel Buds Pro 2. But besides the fact that you can now connect your headset to the streamer and not disturb anyone when you're watching, you have the most incredible sound as well. At first, when spatial audio first came out, which it's also known as 8K audio as well by some, and people have corrected me that there is a difference. 8K spatial, really awesome sound, but it really does make a difference, like especially when you're watching a movie. Like when you go to the cinemas and the gunshots down there and car screechings back here, stereo doesn't really do that, but spatial or surround audio does. So it's a great experience. The problem, though, and we'll talk about the ANC later on, but the problem is that if anyone calls me, I don't really hear them because I'm totally immersed in the content. Anyway, let's talk more about the buds. That's the end of the streamer. It was a segue into the buds. Not only are they apparently smaller, 27% to be precise, than the Pixel Buds Pro. See, I told you it was a Pixel Buds Pro. But the batteries now last longer too, thanks to the Tensor A1 chip. So like most technology, the processor does a lot of the work in managing how the device is used and, of course, protecting battery life. They have superb comfort. I'm not just saying that. These really, really are comfortable in earbuds. The way they're shaped is great. And there's two components to the way they're shaped. The first is you just put them in and they're comfortable and you listen to them. But if you twist them, I'm not sure if I've got a picture of this. I do. There we go. So if you're looking at the screen, you'll see that the shape of the buds is, as you would expect, big bud on the top, a little rubber part that goes into your ear. But there's a small little fin that sticks off, and they call this the twist to secure mechanism. So what happens is you just put them in and you leave them in, and they're comfortable and they're lightweight and all those good things, right? But if you're going to exercise or do something that requires a bit more of a secure fit, you literally twist to secure, and the little fin locates into the ear and locks the bud in. This does work. I use them when I went for a run, more of a really fast walk, moved my head side to side, and they absolutely locked in. So really clever design. The Pixel Buds Pro also come with what's known as Silent Seal 2.0. So in plain speak, active noise cancelling is doubled and compared to the previous version. And it really, really does block out a ton of surrounding sounds. As I said, I've been watching content in spatial audio with full 4K visuals, totally immersed. And, I've had my wife walk into the room with their hands on hips and that look, like, really, I've called you 500 times. There's a feature that's going to come on that. I'll get to that now. But all of this in the smaller size and so on, offering up to 8 hours of active noise cancelling as well, which is incredible. Now, staying with battery life, you're going to get a total of 30 hours with the buds. So it's the 8 hours that I mentioned with the fully charged case, and then you'd obviously have to charge them up. That's one thing I have to say about, I'm just going to another little segue here. I can, it's my show. But that's one thing I've noticed with people that manufacture these things. They always talk about, the battery life, like, yeah, I've just said total of 30 hours, right? But you have to still charge them up. So you've got portability of an additional 20 odd hours in the case, but you still have to charge it up. On that note, if you do need to boost the buds, you can pop them back in the case for 15 minutes, 1.5, and get up to 3 hours of use time. So that's pretty cool. If you were listening to an audiobook or on a train or something, and batteries died, earbuds died, excuse me, 15 minutes is actually not that long. I suppose if you halve it, put them in for, 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to get at least another hour out of them. So that's pretty impressive. And as you would come to expect with a premium product, wireless charging as well. So you just pop them onto the wireless charger when you're not using them, and they'll boost up. Now, I mentioned that I was going to talk about it a little bit more when my wife walked in the room with her hands on her hips. A very cool feature is known as conversation detection. So, when you wear earbuds and you're totally immersed and you got your ANC on and someone comes in, you kind of then have to pull one out your ear, right? And it's become just like an accepted thing. People walk up to you, start talking to you, and then they see you fidgeting for your ear to pull out the bud and then have to repeat what they're saying. Conversation detection, basically, no more taking ear out, your buds out of your ear out. The AI detects when someone starts talking, pauses your music or video, whatever you're watching, and turns on transparency mode. So hear through. That's super cool. So I mentioned the AI, of course, Gemini on board. I did mention this when I did the initial Pixel reviews of the Pro 9 series, that AI is a very, very big word. And obviously with AI comes Gemini when it comes to talking about anything Google. If you haven't used Gemini yet and you're still using ChatGPT or Copilot or any of the others, do yourself a favor, take Gemini for a spin. It's hands down my favorite of the AI tools. I find it generates content really well. It's drawing from the biggest search engine in the world, so you would kind of expect it to do so. But anyway, so yeah, Google Gemini available on the go too. So you just talk to your buds, right? So, and you might have an idea where you have previously had to take out your phone, record a message to yourself. Now you just activate the Gemini AI assistant. You have to actually set Gemini as your AI assistant when you do that in the setup. So just bear that in mind. Don't choose the Google Assistant, choose Gemini, so that when you start talking to Gemini and these other cool features that I mentioned, like conversation detection, it will automatically kick in without you having to touch your phone or your watch. Right, but there is still a more. Tell us, Brett. Okay, I will. So a few shows back, I reviewed the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the Pixel 9, and I made mention that there would soon be a Pixel 9 Pro being released. Well, it has been released, and I have to say I love it. I've used that word love in phones quite a lot recently when it came to these toys. And I have to say, Google has done a fantastic job. In fact, don't take my word from it. the growth in the US market alone of the Pixel series has been phenomenal. I think it's year on year 30% growth, which is a testament to, A, Google listening to what its customers want, and B, building a good product. Anyway, so back to the Pixel 9 Pro. It has all the same specs as the Pixel 9 Pro XL. It's just smaller. Now, the Pixel 9 Pro XL, it's a mouthful, is 6.8 inches, and the Pixel 9 Pro is 6.3 inches. Remember, you measure a screen diagonally, okay? So that's it's a half an inch, or 0.5 of an inch difference. Half an inch, which it's basically makes the Pixel 9 Pro the same size as the Pixel 9. I actually prefer a smaller phone. Now, the Pixel 9 Pro is now the same size. Well, sorry, the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the Pixel 8 Pro, they didn't have the XL, are the same size. So if you had the Pixel 8 Pro from last year, sure, I'm going to get into a tongue twister on the show. They are the same size. They're both 6.8 devices. They've now made it smaller. So what you're doing is you're getting the power of the Pro in a smaller form factor, because previously you would either buy the Pixel 8 or the Pixel 8 Pro, and those were the two different sizes. Feedback: people like myself don't want a bigger phone. When I game on my phone, I obviously want as big a screen as possible. I do have the Pro Fold, which is a glorious 8 inches when opened up. So from a day-to-day, everyday phone, I prefer a smaller phone. When it comes to iPhone, I've always gone for the Pro and not the Pro Max for the same reason. I do prefer a smaller phone. So you now have the 9 Pro as a smaller form factor, but with all the features of the Pro XL. So you're not losing anything. And as I said, for someone like myself that does prefer a smaller form factor, this is great. I do think there's a lot of other people out there that prefer a smaller phone as well. So well done. Google, great job. And yeah, thank you. I think that's probably going to finish the Pixel shows for 2024. I mean, we're already in November anyway, but I have done a lot of cool Google stuff over the last few weeks. In fact, that's not quite true. There's definitely going to be more Google stuff coming up, but you have to wait for that show. Right, so that takes us to the end of Things with a Z. So let's get into tech news. So tech news this week from Google, I'm going to jump into Apple. Wow, so the big fruit ended off the year with the launch of its M4 MacBook Pro lineup. So this last week or so was actually a MacBook week and the end of the Mac series week, or end of the Mac year. They also just yesterday, this was like before I'd already prepped most of the show, but yesterday they announced that the MacBook Air, so the M2 and the M3 Air, which is the current configurations available, will now actually get 16 gigs of RAM as a standard, which is something that people have been calling for a long time. And I think a lot of people that have been spending money on Pro because of the extra RAM, or having to spend the extra $300 Australian to get the extra 8 gigs of RAM, that's really good news. But that's not what today's show is all about, or not what this segment is all about. So there was a really, really exciting announcement made, and that was the launch of the new Mac Mini. Now, I've always been a fan of the Mac Mini. I've always found it as a really good value for money. It serves as a beautiful home server. So if you're a Mac family, got a lot of Apple products in your house, having a server that is also Apple or Apple-centric makes sense. And the Mac Mini was always the go-to. Now, just to put this into perspective for you, for those who are listening, the new Mac Mini, which has also got an M4 processor, is only 5 by 5 inches. So that's like under 13 centimeters squared. Now, I don't know what the inches converts for the Apple TV, but the Apple TV is 3.9 inches. So this is just over an inch wider and longer than an Apple TV. And everyone's seen what an Apple TV looks like. But it's obviously quite a lot thicker as well. It's not as thin as the Apple TV, but the space that it takes up. And it's a fully blown, fully capable M4 processor. I don't know the prices offhand. I didn't actually look them up, but normally Apple brings out better specs at same prices, and I think the Mac Mini was 999 Australian. So, it's a sub $1,000 powerhouse. USB-C ports, Ethernet connectivity, HDMI connectivity. So, you've got if you were looking for a new machine, don't need the portability, maybe go and buy a really nice big screen, get yourself a little Mac Mini. I think they're going to do really, really well with this device, given the small form factor, given the price. The M4 is very capable in the gaming space as well once the publishers start making games for them. So we're going to see some really super exciting things happen there. Next up, Amazon. Not having so much fun with their new ColorSoft Kindle range. So they've actually stopped sales. They've just launched the ColorSoft, which is their first foray into color e-ink. But there have been many complaints of screen issues and specifically like yellowing and a yellow line. I have to say the concept of color e-ink is awesome. There are other choices out there. I think Kobo is one of them. But for comics and graphic novels, like a Kindle just doesn't cut it. You could always buy a graphic novel, in the Kindle store, but some of them are done in black and white, which is fine. But a lot of the comics and graphic novels are in full color, which was always lost on a Kindle. So yes, it's a great idea. Yes, they'll fix it. Basically, they've just stopped selling at the moment, which I think is responsible. People have got them, people are returning them. It's all good. But yeah, at least they've acknowledged the issue and they're going to sort it out. Staying with Amazon, this is pretty exciting, right? So Crunchyroll is now available as a bolt-on subscription with Prime Video. So if there's a 7 days free trial, it is a bit pricey. It's going to jump up to about $11 a month, between 11 and 14. I think the difference between it is at 11 you can just stream the library. At 14, I think you can actually download and take it with you on your device as well. But if you're an anime fan, then 11 and $14 is not a lot of money. I don't believe there's a better or bigger repository out there than Crunchyroll. They're definitely the go-to when it comes to a place to go and find everything. I mean, even like for example, One Piece. I'd be shocked if the whole season or series, sorry, of One Piece. And I'm not talking about the live action. I'm talking about the anime, the original anime, which is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of episodes. So yeah, I have noticed that all the subscription services are now doing the bolt-on thing. Like, Amazon has got Paramount, they've got this, they've got BBC. I think they were going that way. So basically, it's not going to come down to the device anymore. Whether you buy an Apple TV, Google TV streamer that we spoke about earlier, or even Amazon, I suppose, if you have a Prime, what do they call theirs, the Fire Stick. The content's going to be available, and we're moving closer to that one source of content where the devices are becoming irrelevant, and it's all about where you get it from. I got one more article here for tech news, and this is really exciting. Now, I'm got a picture up here if anyone's watching, and I'm talking about Tesla or Elon's announcement of the new e-bike that he's just announced for coming out next year. I don't know if that's what it's going to look like. When I was doing some research on this, because I generally try and research the stuff that I talk about because I'd hate to share fake news. But I don't know if the one that I saw online looks like the one that I've got on this picture now. So, I'm just putting it out there. The bike that I have on the screen, if you're watching, looks awesome. I don't know if that is the e-bike that Elon is going to be launching, but basically he came on stage and said, like he does with everything else, he's about to disrupt another huge market. He is going to disrupt it with a price tag of US $1,000. So that's about 1,300 Australian. That is insanely cheap for an e-bike, especially a Tesla e-bike. In typical Elon and Tesla fashion, it will integrate with all the Tesla network offerings. So charge on the go, home charging, the apps. It'll be very interesting. Some of the things I was reading, I don't know if they were confirmed, but the Tesla Pilot system will be put into it, so you won't get lost ever. It will auto navigate. I don't know if self-balancing and self-driving will be there quite yet. I mean, it is only $1,000, not $10,000, but who knows? You might make it as a bolt-on or an additional pack. You never know with this, man. The bottom line is that if it's built by Tesla, it's going to be fun. The one thing that he did mention, and what I did see, is that it will be limited by speed. There's regulatory requirements that e-bikes can't go. I think it's 20 miles an hour, which is about 30, 35 kilometers an hour, I think. I don't know what the exact conversion is, but it's not super fast. But I'm pretty sure it will get from there to there very fast, like the Tesla cars do. So, yeah, very, very excited about this. Um, I can't wait to see the launch. I hope it's not another one of Elon's launching it next year, and then next year we get told it's coming the year after, like Cybertruck and other things in advance. Anyway, that's the end of tech news, and that takes us into Are You Game. Now, I actually am playing another game, and I did talk about this on the last show. Um, for the people that actually sent me the code, if you by any chance listening to this game to review it, I am reviewing a game. I will be launching a game, but this came up across my radar, and I just had to quickly do it because it's about numbers, right? Like the numbers blew my mind away. So if you watch the screen, I've got a picture up of Pokemon's new trading game Pocket. So it's TCG trading card game, and what they've done is, well, let's finish why I'm talking about the game. It's only been out about a week or 10 days, I think, and they have over 10 million downloads already. So, Nintendo's clearly done something right here. But basically, what it is, it's the digital version of the original trading card game. Now, for those of you that don't know and only know Pokemon Go, where you run around trying to collect these damn things, Pokemon's always been about cards. It was a card game like all the other card games where you've got a pack, a deck, your competitor's got a deck, and you play cards against each other. Now you can do that digitally. But not only can you do it digitally, like just the UI and the UX behind the game was awesome. I don't know if I've got any pictures of it. That's just so if you're watching, I've just got like what the battle looks like. But so when you go and buy a pack of cards, it comes in like a little plastic and you tear it. It's no different on the digital. You get a free pack per day, I think, of boosters. But the idea, and they're monetizing, is to buy cards, like buy card packs. But you even swipe your finger along the top of it, and it opens, like it tears open, which is super cool. Then your cards come out. You can like move them up and down, left and right, and they like reflect. The characters are like 3D. They like pop at you. The super rare characters have these like cool little videos, like it takes on these like little journeys. And they have really nice animated backgrounds as well. So you're not just playing like on a table where you're putting your cards down. And of course, you don't actually have to be in front of someone to play against them. So you can now play your cards against people online as well. So yeah, I gave it a whirl. I actually spent a little bit of time on it. I never bought any cards. I don't know what the buying experience is any different. I can't tell what the costs are. But yeah, so I had to park the game that I was playing and was going to review, am going to still review, but I just thought it's pretty impressive. I mean, I'm very involved in games and game development, as you know, and when a game comes across, yes, it's Nintendo and they've got money and they've got a big war chest, but still 10 million downloads in a week on a game that's based on a game that already exists. I thought that was pretty newsworthy, so I thought it would be worth mentioning. Anywho, that takes us to the end of tech news, and I've just got to have a look. That means we're going to Q&A. Let's have a look and see what we've got here. Well, I like this one. In fact, before I go into Q&A, this show, I mean, if you're listening to and watching it live now, then obviously Friday is Black Friday, which makes next Monday Cyber Monday. Again, I always like to put this message out there. It's actually a two-pronged message. So the first thing is, please be careful of scams. This is the time of year and leading into Christmas that the scammers are prolific. They know that people are looking for good deals. They know that everyone is offering a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal. Please just be aware of this. If you get a text, you get an email, you get something that calls you to go and buy something, rather type the URL in, the URL, sorry. It's not going to guarantee you safety. Then when you get to the URL, if it's an unknown company, check it out. Do some research. Everyone loves a good deal. No one wants to get the bad deal because they try to save some money. So that's just the warning on the crime side. And the second thing is ask yourself, do you need the product or do you want the product? Too many people get caught up in the frenzy. I have a couple of things that I have on a Black Friday list. The brands have been talking about it. There should be things that probably were already on your list. Maybe you watched today's show and you want to get yourself a pair of Pixel Buds Pro 2, or a phone or a streamer. Write it down, get the current price, have a look. When the day comes or the whole weekend, find the deal. But don't just buy in the frenzy. Don't get getting caught into that whole thing and then have post-purchase dissonance. Anyway, that was my public service announcement. On to Q&A. So the question that I've got here is, should I switch to an eSIM? So yes, boom, I'm just saying yes straight away. But here's why. Now, for those of you that don't know what an eSIM is, your SIM card in your phone, you pop open a little tray, you put the SIM card in, you push it in. An eSIM, the SIM is basically built into your device. If you have a smartwatch that has an eSIM in it, that's how you get a phone number added onto your watch. The Kindles have eSIMs built into them as well. They don't actually have a physical SIM card that you slot in and out. So the eSIM technology has been around for a long time. But what makes an eSIM super cool and why I said yes without even thinking about it is, first of all, you can actually have up to 5 numbers on an eSIM. Now, you can't use them all at once, but if you're someone that travels internationally regularly, you could then go and get a number in each country and have that number. So let's say you get a Japanese number, you arrive in Japan, you just switch on that eSIM. You don't have to do anything. That number's there. If there were any voicemails because people have left them, they're going to come through. You don't have to wait for it to turn on. You don't have to go and buy prepaid. All these wonderful things. On that note, a lot of prepaid vendors do use eSIM technology. So again, you don't have to go into a shop. You can go online. You can buy it, have it delivered as an eSIM. It's generally a QR code which you'd scan with your phone, and boom, you're in. So that's cool. But yeah, 5 numbers, right? If your phone supports an eSIM and a physical SIM, then you can have 2 numbers at the same time. Actually, if your phone supports 2 eSIM or dual eSIM, you can also have 2 phone numbers at a time, but let's just go through the hurdles, right? So physical SIM, eSIM, boom. Now, I've actually set my local, as in my Australian number, as an eSIM, and I've kept my physical SIM card empty. And the reason for that is I don't travel that much internationally. So when I do, I just walk in, get off the plane at the airport, walk into a store and buy a physical card, pop it in. It's simple. I don't have to try and switch numbers. I don't have to do anything like that. That's my preference. But it's a nice tip as well, for anyone that's going to be traveling soon. Before you travel, switch your local number to an eSIM. Keep your tray if you have a tray free. If you've got dual eSIM, then that's fine. You can just get an eSIM on that side. But if you have the tray, keep it free. Do what I was saying, but buy a data-only SIM when you travel, right? You don't need a phone SIM. No one really makes phone calls. You probably don't know too many people in that country that you need to phone, but data is awesome. By having a data SIM, you don't have to switch roaming on. You just use mobile data of that country. So you're paying local mobile data rates. And of course, with WhatsApp and Teams and Skype and I don't know, every other platform out there that has voice and video calling, you can make a call via the data SIM and you can receive calls via the data SIM. So yeah, nice question. Coming up into the time here when people are traveling, that would be my answer to that question. I think the last benefit, actually, if I sit here and think about it as well, we're talking about the physical SIM card, right? That's a piece of plastic, which means it's waste. So if you ever have to change your SIM card, or if you do travel and buy a SIM card and you're going to throw it away, you're contributing to waste. So, not using physical SIM cards means you are reducing plastic. And I can see people going, "Oh, Brett, the SIM card's so small." Sure, but if you take the millions of SIM cards out there, every single one of them, turns into it all adds up, right? So that's Q&A, which means that it takes us to the end of the show. So until next time, keep your screens clean and your knobs shiny.